Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video you'll see the build options for the Kill Team Imperial Navy Breaches. Here we go, I've got the Imperial Navy Breaches all built up, so this kill team is ready to get painted now. I've done all the bases and gone through all the different operatives that are included in this Into the Dark kill team book. So in this video, I'll be going through that book a little bit, but mostly focusing on the construction book, which takes you through all the different operatives you can build, and then just talking about how I replicated some of the operatives to give them more of the heavy weapons, and then just how I went through the decision making process to choose which operatives to build. We'll also have a look at what's left over on the sprues and some of the different parts you can use if you wanted to on the models. Before you start building, I definitely recommend having a good read of the Into the Dark book that comes in the box set, and this is going to go through all the different operatives you can have, and then you can choose which ones you like and which ones you could imagine having in your kill team. So here we've got the Imperial Navy Breaches section. This starts on page 35 of the book, and it tells you just how many you can bring. You can have 1 Navis Sergeant at Arms and 11 Imperial Navy Breaches, and there's a few rules. With your Navis Gunner, you can only equip them with one of the following: the las volley, melter gun, or plasma gun. So you're going to have to choose there. I've done a little thing where I've made 2 models, one carrying the melter gun and one carrying the las volley, and so that's going to give me some options, and if I choose just one of them for a game, I can use the other one as a regular Navis armsman. So you can have up to 2 Navis gunner operatives though, so bear that in mind. But other than Navis armsman and Navis gunner operatives, your kill team can only include 1 of each operative above once. So you can have 2 gunners, you could have all 11 Navis armsmen if you wanted to, but if you choose any of these other ones, then you can only take 1 of them into your kill team. There's also some conditions here. For example, you can only include a Navis Geist Skull operative if you include a Navis Void Jammer, and you can only take a cat unit if you have a Surveyor. So a couple of things to bear in mind there. Now, one of the good things about this set and the sprues is that you can build all of the operatives. So it's not like the Death Corps of Krieg where you couldn't build them all, or you had to put 2 weapons on one model to get access to them all. Here you can actually build all of the models. So I think the sprues have been really well done, and the details are fantastic. If you've checked out the unboxing video, you'll know what I mean. So they've done a great job there. But I definitely recommend having a good read through this, getting an idea of how the kill team works, looking at the ploys, and then working your way through all the data cards and just seeing which ones jump out to you. So I always think if you can build all the operatives, just go ahead and build them, because you can always play them as regular Navis armsmen as well. Certainly if your opponent doesn't mind, there's no reason not to do that. So if you ever wanted to just play armsmen, or you wanted to play 5 armsmen and then the rest as special operatives, then you can certainly do it. So it's no problem at all. You have to have a Sergeant at Arms, so really good to choose that. I like to play WYSIWYG, so with mine I've gone for one that I just think looks really cool. So here he is, and I like this pose. I thought that was really nice. And then I've given him the sword there, so that's going to be classed as a power weapon, so I like that. And then he's also got this cool weapon here as well, which could be the bolt pistol, heirloom auto pistol, Navis shotgun I'm going with. I think that looks like a shotgun, so I think that looks great, and that's going to work really nicely. So yeah, I just like the overall look of the miniature, and I think with the shotgun and the sword as a power weapon, that's a good combination. So you have to have him. So choose, or her, you can make it as a female. There's some different heads which we'll look at in a second. So yeah, choose what you're going to arm them with, and if it's included, nice to build it that way. And then just work your way through, have a look at the different operatives. Maybe one you just don't like, and so you don't want to include them in there, so that's no problem at all. But you've got all different ones. Some fantastic models in here, really good. Lots of rules to look at. There's quite a few abilities for some of them as well. They're going to work alongside the cat unit, for example, here, and the Geist Skull here. And there we go, then you've got your equipment. So yeah, that's the first place to start. Have a good read through the data cards and see what stands out to you. Once you've done that, then take a look at the instruction book. So this is going to give you everything you need to assemble your kill team, and it starts here right on the page 3, where we can go straight into our Imperial Navy Breacher kill team, and it's very easy to put together. The instructions were super clear. You've got lots of options with the heads, and it starts off with your Navis Sergeant at Arms. Gives you 2 different build options there with the different heads as well, but you basically choose the head from these selections. So you can have the female heads or the male heads or the helmet, so you don't know what's underneath. It's up to you, so you can choose that. I went for this guy. I felt like he looked like a naval sergeant at arms, and I thought that worked really nicely. They've done a great job here. It's very clearly labelled, all the different optional parts you can put on, the different weapons, arms, the different helmets, so really nicely done. So the first step's really easy. You're going to need a Navis Sergeant at Arms, so it's just choosing which one you like the look of and going for that. So first thing I did was just build that. That's done then, and you haven't got to think about it. And then I start working through and having a look at the different combinations, because sometimes, like with the Krieg, you would only be able to make a certain number of operatives. But as I said earlier, we're really lucky here because we can build them all. So as you look through it, you've got Armsman Surveyor, Armsman Axe Jack, Armsman Grenadier, Armsman Void Jammer, Armsman Navis Hatch Cutter, Gunner and Gunner. So this is the only thing that doubled up. So you can have 2 gunners in your kill team, so that's really cool. So it's worth building a couple of options. Now I went with the Las Cannon, or what was it called? Las Volley Gun, and I went with the Melter Gun as well. So what I did was I made the Navis Gunner with the Las Volley. I made him exactly like this, so I followed the instructions. But for the Navis Gunner with the Melter Gun, I chose a different position. I chose a different model, and that different model is all the way back here for number 4. So for number 4, you only get the choice to build it as a Navis Armsman. So for number 3 it was different, but for number 4 you only get that option, and then that's going to take you through the very simple build to put that together. And then you go on to number 5, which is also an Armsman. So you've got 2 options. You could choose number 5 or number 4 and then build them as another heavy gunner. So really, you could do all 3 heavy gunners if you wanted to. So for Navis Armsman number 4, I used the body and everything else, but used the arms and the weapon of the Melter Gun. Now, if you wanted to build all 3 heavy weapons, so if you wanted to include the plasma as well, you're not going to have this arm. So just take that into account. You're going to have to do something else, get an arm from a different kit, because all the arms that go with the regular Armsman don't have hands attached to them because they're formed into their regular guns. So yeah, if you wanted to do the 3rd one, you're going to get another hand or arm from somewhere, and so that could be an issue. Or you could give them a hook for a hand. I don't know. You could be creative with how you do it. But I went with 2, and then that made sure by going with the Melter Gun and the Las Volley, I had enough arms. So that worked out really nicely. I think that looks pretty cool. So yeah, having those 2 heavy weapons is nice. Now I did have to do a bit of trimming on the arm. You might be able to see there. In fact, I'll get in a bit closer so you can have a good look. Just focus on that. So you can see here, I've had to trim the arm so it fits into the section of the shoulder pad there. So some of these, like the Las Volley one, go flush against the torso, but these you have to cut in like a right angle so it slots in, because that shoulder pad there is solid and attached to the torso. So yeah, a little bit of trimming, not much work at all, and then you're going to get a couple of options for your heavy weapons. So overall, it's really easy. You can literally just go through, make all the operatives, all the special operatives, and then either make the Armsman as an Armsman here for number 4 and 5, or you can make them both as an extra heavy weapon and have all 3. So you've got the potential here with the models to have every single operative. So I think that's really nice. Great to have those options. You don't have to think about getting another kit, and you're just good to go right away. So now we've had a look through the book and the options to build, I'll just give you a quick look at the models I've put together and talk about their bases too. Here's the first model. This is my Navis Sergeant at Arms, and I had 5 Necromunda bases knocking about, so I decided to put them on that. I think that's going to work really nicely with the look of the kill team set. And so these are I'm going to make fit right in with the Gallowdark scenery. The crew, I'm going to be doing the bases a bit different because I'll mostly be playing those outside of that and more in like jungle themes, and I think. So yeah, these are going to really fit in with Gallowdark, and I'm going to theme the bases for them. So that's the first one, and that's the leader with his power weapon, the power sword, and his shotgun there as well. And I chose to make the leader not have a helmet so he really stands out from the rest. Next, we've got the Navis Endurant, and this model is awesome. I love everything about this. Brilliant model. That shield is just epic. You can really imagine him breaching the door, protecting his teammates behind him as they rush in. And what I've done here is I've took a base. Now, these are on different ones. You've got two models. This one and this heavy one are on 32mm bases, and so they're a little bit bigger than the rest that come. Sorry, these are 28mm bases, and they're different to the rest that come on 25mm, so slightly bigger for those two. What I've done is I had these really cool little base toppers that came from a company in Cornwall that sent them out to me. And here's a box from another model they sent me. They're called modularworlds.co.uk, and they 3D print all sorts of miniatures. And here we've got the Craze Guts Captain, you can see, so he'd fit right in with Warhammer 40k for sure. So a big thanks to them for sending me out a bunch of stuff to take a look at, and those bases have worked out really nicely for my kill team. So I'm going to be using those on these two here for the heavy weapons, and also this guy. So yeah, and let's have a look at the next one. So here we've got the Grenadier. He's got this extra protective piece of armor here, so that's a really nice touch and definitely looks like a demolition expert of some kind. And I've used part of the base from some of those other ones from that set that I used on these two, and I've just put it on there with some other little bits of trim from different parts left over from models. And again, once all that's sprayed, I think that's going to look like part of the Gallowdark that's been bashed up a little bit. So that's another nice one. Next, we've got the Navis Axejack on a Necromunda base. Looking cool. Brilliant model. That axe is fantastic. Just the whole nautical vibe coming off these guys is just brilliant. I think it really works nicely. Can't wait to get them painted. Navis Hatch Cutter next with that cool chain fist. Looks brilliant. And then he's also got the pistol there too. And so really well done. And I've done helmets on all of them, so I didn't go for any bare heads. I thought the helmets really suited them. So I'm going to go with the kind of box art, really. Go like a navy blue colour and then do the metallics on all the metal armour pieces. I think that'll look brilliant. Here's one that I made with the melter gun. So I put him on the 25mm base still. I didn't put him on the bigger base because I'll mostly be using him as a regular Navis armsman. But if I want to step up and use him as a special weapons, then I can. The base will just be a bit small. I could always put it on another base with some blue tap while I do that. But most of the time, I'm probably just going to play it as an armsman. And I thought with this, rather than going with the plasma, I would just build another armsman just so I could have one that's actually as you see it in the book. And here he is. So there we go. Next up is the Void Jammer and the Geist Skull. So these two are going to work together. You can't have one without the other. So they're going to play really well. And then there you can see he's got the control pad. So he's working with that. You've got a little piece of like pipe going over a hatch. So that's the Geist Skull floating above that. And then again, I've just used some bits of base to put it around. And then because this is like resin, I've super glued the plastic model onto that. And finally, we've got the Cat Unit and the Surveyor. So again, these two are going to work together. Fantastic little model. This piece here, you can have it the other way around, like upside down, or you can have it sticking up a bit more or a bit lower. So you've got lots of options. I went for that angle there, and I think that works nicely. So yeah, two more really nice models. Lots of rules to think about with these and work through, and I'll be covering all of that in a deep dive video where we just look at the rules for the models. Now let's have a quick look at what's left on the sprue. So you've got the two different sections here if you went for the female sergeant. And then on here you can see you've got lots of heads left over. This was something I picked up on in the video I did before for the sprues. Loads of heads in this set. You've got a few arms and guns. But you see what I was on about earlier with no hand? So the hands are attached to the guns. So you're going to be struggling to have 3 arms for the heavy weapons. But I love these bits, the axes with the pouches. I've left them off because I want to use these on some other models. I'll be using them in my zombie game probably. I think it looks brilliant. So that's that one. And then the final sprue, you can see it got a nice power weapon there if you want to use that. And a chainsword. And again, lots of the other guns and arms without hands. So I think it might be cool to put a hook for a hand. That'd be quite funny. And then you've got a backpack as well. So there we go, or oxygen tank, I should say. So awesome, that's all the sprues. If you haven't picked up your Into the Dark Kill Team box set yet, but you'd like to, then please check out Firestorm Games. They're the sponsor of my channel, and I'm really grateful to them for doing that. And they've also sent a code out for me to share with you, so you can make some additional savings. If you use the link and code below, you'll save an additional 5% on top of the usual up to 20% you'll get on all your hobby products. So big thanks to them, and I'd love it if you checked out their website. Now we've covered the different operatives, looked at how to put them together and what's left over once you've got them built. So that covers everything in this video. Come and join me in the next videos in the series where there'll be all sorts going on for Kill Team. I'll be getting these painted, I'll be doing a deep dive on their rules and lots more as well. And also if you want to see how the terrain's assembled and put together so it doesn't get stuck, because it can be a bit tough. So really easy fix that I've covered in another video. You can check that out too. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit that notification bell too to join me here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.